everybody. How's it going? I'm so stoked to do this. Unfortunately, Kevin's not going to make it, so it's just me with everybody, but that's cool. I don't mind. Happy Thursday, almost the weekend. What do we got? Anybody have any questions, stories? What's going on?
Hello. How's
Hey,
everyone?
fellow West Coast people.
Yeah, hi Vic. It's been a while. I think it's
I
probably been a
know.
month and a half since we last chatted. Nice to meet everybody here. I'm based in Seattle, for anyone that doesn't know. Started pretty recently. Then we got our first booking in July, like July 1st, on the call with Vic, actually, to the date. So it's been almost 2 months. I think being in a big metropolitan city has proved to be its own challenge in different ways. We've built close to either 6 or 7,000 to this point. We have around 4 or 5 recurring customers. Actually closed one just before this call.
Shut
Um,
up, Eric. That's so good.
yeah, so things are going not without its challenges, right? And I guess my question to the group would be just different methods of advertising. We've done everything under the roof from finding Facebook groups, which a lot of them they don't allow men, right? If I'm trying to like the Seattle Moms group, Belgian
Oh,
Moms only allow moms, which is like my target demographic. Um, Google LSA ads has been probably one of the biggest hit and misses. Are It can be anywhere from $30 to $80 a lead. I got charged $80 for a lead yesterday, whereas like for a profit margin of $90, not worth it.
was
And
was it a recurring or was it a one time?
it was a one time and they end up canceling,
I
right? They
can't
said, oh,
believe they charged $80 for a one time. Google.
without too much, too much further ado in terms of advertising, Google PPC has been, again, some weeks we have a bunch of bookings. Next week we have none scheduled. So
Yeah.
what has been the best and consistent method to build up that at least stable income for our cleaners?
Okay, well, first off, let's just celebrate the fact that you've already done how much? 6 or 7K?
7K. I can double check right now. I mean, it's up in front of me, so I could just double check. But I'm sure it's in that area. So we have a bunch of cleans at the end of the month that are reoccurring. So we have 8.4 on the books.
Okay, so 8K within 3 months. I can show you our numbers. We started 1,400, then four. So by month, so 1,400 our first month, then 4K our next month, then 8K, then 10, then 12, and it literally just grows. So there's no magic answer that tells you like this is, you've got to do this formula and then this formula. It's just keep going. What you're doing is working.
Had someone text me back to come back and fix the clean. So let me handle that. And I will
Yeah.
be,
See, you're already doing the right thing, Eric.
I'm trying. Give me 1 minute.
Okay, you go do that. This is so funny that he's dealing with a complaint like right now. Because the last time I talked to Eric, he took his first booking while we were on Zoom. But like doing exactly that is it. Like it doesn't have to be so hard. It's just hard in the beginning because they don't know you yet. Christine, I see you bobbing your head there. I'm going to put you on the spot. How's it going?
We haven't even started yet. So Christy and I are building this together.
That's
And
right. It was you two
yeah,
that connected.
yeah, yeah.
So
So
great.
we're gonna have a brainstorming session coming up, and it's challenging for both of us because we're both working full time, and I'm working full time as well as helping my brother with some stuff. And
Yeah.
so yeah, we're so
Yeah.
grateful for these calls because it's just great, valuable information. It's nice to connect with other people.
Yeah.
So yeah, but I can kind of relate to what you're saying, and I appreciate everything that you say. It's very
Oh,
good
that's great.
information. So
Well, listen, and almost everybody starts these with full-time jobs. Eric has a full-time
yeah,
job too. Juan, Rich, they're both in here. Both have full-time jobs. It just means you're not going to grow as fast, as intense. And that's
right,
because you don't have to, because you can pay your bills.
right, yeah,
So you don't have the urgency, right? Like Jen and I had urgency. We had to pay our bills and fast. There was no like we had to move fast.
wow,
And I think a lot of times people will like compare themselves to, our growth or Rohan's growth or Kevin's growth, but like it was that or work at Starbucks. Like it was not like, not
yeah,
that working at Starbucks is bad. I don't even know if Starbucks would hire me in all honesty. Like, but
yeah,
there's no difference in how I spend my time now than how I spent my time 3 years ago It's just 3 years ago, I was spinning my wheels, kind of like Eric was just doing, where it's like, can I do this? Can I do this? Can I do this? Can I do this? And I needed Kevin or Rohan to say to me, you're on track. Just keep going.
Yeah.
And I was like, really? No,
Right.
there has to be more. It's like, no, that's because your day job is more. So you're used to
Yeah.
things being hard.
Yeah.
And like, I
Yeah.
only took 2 bookings today, but that's all I need. I need 2 to 3 a day. That's it.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. But there are
Okay.
days where I don't take any. And there's
Mhm.
other days where I take 5 or 6. But my biggest job is managing this, what's happening in here. And then remembering, oh, cleaners go out, clients pay the bills, 1 in 100 are going to complain. Okay, got a complaint, deal with the complaint, hire another cleaner. If anything, it's boring.
Yeah.
But I'll take boring over stress any day. So there we go. Well, I'm really glad that Christine and Christy, that you guys have found each other. That's so cool. So for context for everyone else, these guys lived in 2 different cities. They're both in the province I live in Canada. But one of them started one here and then moved, and now the 2 of them are joining forces, which is so cool. Like, you met through the community. How amazing is that? It's
I'll
awesome.
share my journey or lack thereof.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Philip.
Right.
Lack thereof.
So I'm kind of like the prodigal son here, who's coming back for the second time around. I have I've got a career. I'm actually a CPA by training. Started my career in Price Waterhouse in Montreal, and ended up in the pharmaceutical industry and getting transferred through various different companies. And then I became entrepreneurial. So I committed to be on a 5 p.m. Pacific time Zoom for 21 days running a year ago. And really loved everything that I saw, and the experience with with Rohan and Kevin and Victoria and her sister Jennifer was just really inspiring. And so I was ready to go, and but they already control this market where I lived, so I had to look for another spot. So there's another city a little further away called Nanaimo, and so I registered Nanaimo Cleaning. I think it was just NanaimoCleaning.com, right?
Yeah.
And was all ready to go. And then at that point was when Google started to change the rules in terms of allowing you.
Yeah.
You had to establish a real business there, and you had to do a video to prove to them that you had the business. And so I was looking at setting up a virtual office up there, and
They don't love that. Yep.
and they had just closed that. And then we ran into Christmas, and January came around, and then I think it was back in March, Victoria contacted me and said, "Hey, Philip, you know what? I know you may be struggling to open in Nanaimo. We've got a growing community out here on the West Shore, and we've got our hands full just handling Oak Bay. Why don't you think about doing the West Shore?" So I registered West Shore Immaculate Cleaning.com and and started to get going. But then life got in the way.
Now it's September.
Yeah,
You haven't had a booking yet, have you?
I haven't really launched, because what happened was I met a woman.
Oh, and that was that.
and I knew that, and I knew that she was leaving town in August.
Yeah.
So we had a few months together. So I said, you know what? It's summer. I just got a new rowing boat,
Yep.
and Tanya's
Life
only
is
here.
short.
Tanya's only here for a few months. So I kind of put it on the shelf, and
Okay.
then all of a sudden, okay, I'm back. That's right, because my ladies left town, and the summer is kind of over, and then this opportunity came to get back into the community.
Amazing.
The power of staying in touch and networking.
Yeah, and Philip, the next time we talk, you're gonna have had your first booking.
Yes.
Assignment given.
I'm actually rewatching
Oh, good.
I'm
The videos.
rewatching all the videos, and I'm already connected locally with the Canadian setup, and
Yeah.
know Victoria and Jennifer.
Yes.
So I
That's awesome.
I've got that kind of support. So.
Oh, thank you, Philip. Thank you for sharing.
And the irony is, I prepaid a whole year last year. So I've been looks like I just kind of have to eat that. But
Well, listen, I heard a stat recently that 80% of new cleaning businesses don't survive their
Yeah.
first year. It's one of these stats that goes around. Who knows how it's been validated? Because, but I do want to say, like, the ones that do just follow the steps and do the things and get over the imposter syndrome and just get their first bookings, that's it. And then just keep going.
yeah, I just rewatched the Imposter Syndrome.
Yeah.
Oh, guess what? That's me.
I mean, I still have it.
So anyway, so that's not a success story, but just so that everyone else on the call understands that this opportunity is still there.
Yeah.
And even if you end up kind of like getting derailed or put it on the shelf or life gets in the way, you can still pick up and the support is still there. The market is still there. The tool, I mean, the Convert Labs software is just there and just gets better every day. So
Sorry for actually interrupting. I'm so glad that you mentioned that. Honestly, because I'm kind of, I don't know if you can hear me, but Victoria, I joined, I think, around May period. My name is Dio Balogun, and I think
Yes.
you're one of the first to always reach out, especially to introduce yourself. So thank you for that. You're awesome at that. And I live in London, you see. And you basically says you used to live in London around.
I remember. Yeah.
And for Philip to just talk about life getting in the way, because I also spoke to Rowan. I've known Rowan on and off since 2010, 2011, because I was in the tech business, and I was one of his first fans, so to speak. Because Rowan started something on Reddit about he was selling like a shaving
Yeah.
stuff,
The Wet
and he
Shave
made-
Club.
where he made it successful of that. I was impressed. So I basically kind of joined him, and we started, because I was doing my own tech. I was like building a tech company there, and he was also kind of saying, go do your stuff. Unfortunately, mine didn't work out, but I was always following him. And we spoke around April time, and unfortunately, I was transitioning into a new industry. I was training to be a data analyst. I used to be an accountant back in the day. I hated it. And Rowan told me, yo, Dio, this is gonna be intense. You can still learn to be a data analytics as well as do this at the side. However, take your time. But I wanted to get so much involved into it, and I realized that I've already paid £6,000, which is about $10,000 for this data analytics course. So I didn't want it to go to waste. But I knew that I also wanted to make this cleaning thing work.
Mm-hmm.
Cut a long story short, I got burnt out with schoolwork. It was a 4-month course. I was panicking that I'm gonna fail. And then you mentioned imposter syndrome. I was telling myself, am I good enough? I don't want to be a data analytics, but I know I need to get a job to get the money to pay for the bills and everything.
Yeah.
But I was thinking to myself, can I really do it? And why am I actually putting this off? So I finished my study about 3 weeks ago, and I just told myself, you know what? Time to get back to this. So I was only thinking I'm the only one who's actually put this off. So when Phillips just said, yo, dude, yeah, I'm like, what the? Okay. Because everybody's also on the same boat, but we just have different ways of going about it. So thank you for saying that story, because I wasn't going to say
well,
it.
good. I'm really glad that I was able to find a companion out there.
Yeah, dude, I was. So thank you for sharing that. Really, really do. And Victoria, nice to meet you.
Reach out through the community if you have any, if we need to give one another pep talks.
To add on to that, the majority of people that sign up do quit. It's just when they quit. And I do think a lot of it, and it's hard to know why people quit because they don't tell you, right? And Kevin and Rohan's analogy of it being like a gym membership is so good, right? Because like you sign up for the gym, some people are gonna do the things, and a lot of people aren't. And that's part of the reason there's so much room for all of us with cleaning companies. And Philip is so kind because he doesn't want to like go in our space, but like honestly, he can. Like there is enough room for us all. Rohan is constantly teaching people in Washington where his company is, and it has made no difference in his revenue at all. because there's just more, especially if you use what Jen and I, always coach on, which is the local formula and hyper local. So Eric's company is in Seattle, but he didn't name his company that. He named it Bellevue Clean, right? Because that's a suburb of Seattle. So rather than going after all of the PNW, he's going for one suburb, just like us in Oak Bay Clean, because the other suburbs always come to us. So there's enough room for everybody. It's just most people won't start. And when they do start, they will have one complaint or two complaints, and it will feel like 100. And like, I have so many days, if you talk to me, this is why I didn't book this call for last week. Because if you talk to me last week, when it's the busiest move out weekend of my year, I was like, nah, people suck.
Just to add to what Eric was asking earlier, in terms of what is the best way of actually getting users? We were talking about Google and Facebook.
Yeah.
What actually works for beginning, medium phase when you're actually well established?
So it's a great question, and it's one that honestly I'm still working on. Kevin's answer, I think, is best. What works for you is what you need to dial down on. Just keep going with what works for you, because you're going to figure it out. And some days it's not going to work. But if the majority of the time that one strategy works for you, keep going with that one strategy. And then always be testing. I'm testing a Google Ads campaign right now. It's not working. But the test I'm doing is I'm running a campaign in 4 postal codes. So like zip codes, or you would call them postal codes in the UK. So 4 postal codes, which are my highest converting postal codes. And I know this because we've operated for 3 years. So I can take all of our data and go, okay, these are our postal codes. This is where our client base is. And then I'm running the campaigns only in the hour that we get the most bookings from. This is why it's not working. It's too tight. So I have to expand it and do it on the day. But anyway, I'm just testing, and I'm always testing. That's it. And it's like 1 month I'll be like, okay, I cracked the code. It's this, and then 6 months later, that strategy is not working anymore. And then I try something else. For us, texting realtors worked amazing when we first started, but in the community, people will say that isn't working for them. And then I go, well, why isn't it? Maybe you're not personalizing enough. And I know that personalizing is the most important thing. Making people feel seen and heard and valued is the most important thing. And being where they're looking. They're looking on Google. They're looking on Instagram. They're looking on Facebook. I personally, I've ditched all the social media for the most part. My head is so much better without it. But if you're on those channels, use those channels. Lisa in our community, she always talks about how she gets all of her cleaners from Facebook. And I've had horrible success getting cleaners from Facebook. For me, those have been my worst cleaners. But for her, that's what's working. So honestly, it's just testing and doing it and knowing it's just going to take time. All right, Eric, jump back in.
Hello, I am back. Had to handle that little bit of a mishap. We're okay. We're going back to fix it tomorrow. Kind of just building on what Vic said. I think in general with business, you don't know what works, right? And that's a scary part for a lot of people and why a lot of people quit. In my day job, I work in sales, just to put it simply, and it's never guaranteed, right? Sometimes we'll be in a call, kind of a large budget, and for no reason, or you might never know, it doesn't work out. So I think just having that immunity has helped me just keep pushing for it. But in terms of, finding what works for you, maybe it's Google, maybe it's Instagram, maybe it's Facebook, maybe it's door knocking. We don't know, right? I think for me, what I was bringing up earlier before I had to jump was for the ads campaign. We're not technically positive. I think we're just about breaking even, right? So everything I've made has gone back into the business. And we're still looking for that avenue where, we're getting a very positive ROI or ROAS from ad spend. And I don't know what that is yet. Still testing. We're testing 2 months in, starting to pick up. But in terms of asking Vic, I saw your old post from must have been a year ago. You said you're spending $3K to $3.5K initially on
Easily.
Google. Was that, can I ask you, was that a positive spend, or honestly, was it even slightly negative? What was?
Okay, listen, the Google verse gets super technical, and people will look at your return on ad spend is what Eric's talking about. We only used Google. So it's really easy to go, is this positive or negative? And I literally use human language, not advertiser's language, not salesperson, not Google language. Is it positive or negative? My answer is, this is positive. I'm getting bookings. That's it. Right. And so I hired this like Google Ads expert that was all about the conversions, where it was like the formula, where it was like, okay, if they click this, then you get this. That's just not me, because we grew to 50K a month, only spending 3K a month on Google. And that was our only channel. So did it work? Absolutely. According to Google and the analytics, no, because we weren't getting conversions. But then what they called a conversion was different from what I called a conversion. So then I just went, screw it. I'm not going to talk Googleverse anymore. I'm just going to talk real numbers.
Google, their system is built to take money off of you, right?
Oh,
It's
100%.
very smart in what they do.
Yeah.
And a lot of times for Google Ads, people will look at, oh, my ad's not optimized. Well, that's because you're doing what they're not telling you to do. And sometimes it works better. So actually, you had a great point, Vic, and I would
Yeah.
love to actually ask you, now that you're kind of talking about it a little bit more. When you set up your Google Ads, it sounds like you were more geared towards having people call your phone from the ads versus going to a landing page or a booking page.
Oh man, here's the thing is, like, when I talked to the Google Ads expert, he was like, no, you need phone calls. We needed phone calls our first year. And I would argue for all of you guys that are just starting out, phone calls are important because they don't know you yet. And you, as a human being, need to prove to other human beings that they're safe, trusting you and your company with going into their homes. So the Google Ads guy that was like, I was paying money to, he was like, no, you've got to get them on the phone so you can upsell them. And then he created a different landing page that doesn't convert like ConvertLabs does. And so then I figured that out. He's in the UK. And I was like, dude, I'm not, like, that's old school. I'm not going to hide my prices. My prices are great. Like, I want people to go to my website. So eventually, Eric, once we figured that out, we went from phone calls to clicks. Because if people click on our website and they fill out that little widget at the top that just says their name and the size of their home and the price, I know because of the ConvertLabs drip campaign where 7 emails go out, I'm going to convert 34.5% of those people
It's
without
crazy you
me
say that.
phoning them.
I use the exact widget sequence and it's not converting for me. I think it's sat below 5%. So I had to
Because they don't know you yet. You haven't proven yourself yet. So
Right.
that took us a good year, right? So our first year, yes, you got to get phone calls. That's it. Because you got to show them you understand their pain points, right? And then after a year, you should be getting enough reviews, and you're good at asking. I know you're going to be like,
I think we have like 25 right now, which is pretty good.
amazing. So get up to 100. And when people can recognize their friends' names, because that's why I love the suburb approach, because people know each other in those suburbs, right? So they'll see their friend and they'll be like, oh, hey, James used that service. I know him.
Yeah.
Then you're rolling. Then you're going to get into the people are booking online. 90% of our clients book online now, but it definitely didn't happen our first year.
One thing I can't recommend enough is once you finish a clean, call them. I call every single one. You get away, be like, hey, how'd it go? I want to know everything that went well, what didn't. And then actually from that, I actually got our cleaners to walk them through after, if they're home, every single clean. So, but yeah, it was great. We walked through, missed a couple spots in the bathroom, whatever. We fixed it on the spot, and you know,
Perfect.
she was nice. And then I asked again, hey, if you think we did a good job, do you mind doing us a huge favor? We're a small business, 30 seconds for Google review. And I'd say we're honestly close to like a 30 to 40% hit rate, where if we clean, they'll probably leave a good review. And it's just doing the stuff that you don't want to do, right? Like rewriting your sales script, going through the landing page, the thank you, doing everything. So that's what, if I leave one, I can't stay too long. I have to jump for
Yeah.
a phone call.
Because you're working.
But just keep working and don't stop and keep testing. But
I love it. Okay, go get your phone call. That's
Thanks,
so
Eric.
classic. That's what it's like to have a day job. So thank you guys. I really appreciate each and every one of you for being here. Please keep sharing in the community and go get it.
Thank you. I appreciate
great,
it. Thanks,
Victoria.
everybody.
Thank
guys
Thank
are
you for
amazing.
this. Thanks,
Stefan,
everybody.
everyone.
Anytime,
Thank you.
guys. See you soon.
Appreciate it.
Bye.
I'll reach out. Take
See you.
care. Ciao.
Bye.
Bye.